All right, welcome to the garage, Shop Class 101. Today, you will be bleeding a brake system, so removing air from the lines. So by the end of class today, you will know how to take a non-functioning braking system, bleed the air out of the lines, and have a completely functioning brake system. You ready?
Yes.
All right, today we are learning how to remove air from a brake system, also how brakes work. In this case, we're going to be talking about hydraulic brakes, in other words, disc brakes that uses basically a hydraulic line. You apply pressure to a fluid in the line, and that causes a piston to rub up against the brake caliper. Can you hold this? Point it at the back wheel. All right, so here is our brake fluid reservoir. So this is what stores extra brake fluid, and the line runs down to right here, and this is what's called the master cylinder. And this is connected to your brake lever. So when you push this, there's a cylinder in here that pumps brake fluid through this line into this black object here around our rotor. And when that pressure from the fluid builds up, it pushes two pads against the rotor, causing it to, a lot of friction, and it makes your wheel stop turning. Very essential if you want to not die. So what I've simulated here, I've removed the brake fluid from the line, so you can see if our wheel is spinning and I try to press on the brake, the wheel wouldn't stop. Okay? So what I want you to do is push down on the brake pedal, the brake pedal. Okay, what do you feel? Do you feel any resistance?
No.
No, go straight down. So I want you to pull on the lever up on the front handlebar. I've already done this one. Tell me how the difference compares. How do the two levers compare?
This one has a little bit more resistance.
Okay, yeah. So when you push on the brake pedal, you should feel some resistance as the pressure builds in the system. So you're gonna have to take the screwdriver and remove the two screws holding the cap on. Lefty-loosey. Until they come all the way out. Once the screws are out, you can just take the cap and place it over here on our workbench. Go ahead and just set it the top side down. Another important thing when you're adding brake fluid to a system, you want to make sure that your environment is clean. You don't want to add any dirt and junk to the brake lines, or you can cause braking failures. What you're going to do is fill up the brake fluid reservoir to full, and as we do this procedure, as you're bleeding the oil through the lines, you'll want to keep checking to make sure that you're not going to be sucking air in and lose all of your progress. So fill that up to the top, and we'll just keep our eye on that as we work. You can see there's bubbles coming up already because the brake lines are completely empty. So that's a good sign to see that the air is coming out.
Keep pouring.
Keep pouring, yep. So like you can see there, some of the air will come out on its own, but as we get further into the system after the brake pedal, the air won't, it'll be trapped inside, and that's where the bleeding comes in. All right, so it appears that the air from this line has been removed, but our issue is between this line here to the brake caliper, is what this structure is called. All right, and this is where the actual piston between that squishes down on the rotor is.
Okay.
All right, so I want you to locate the bleed screw, which is covered by a rubber cap right here. Go ahead and take off that cap. It's on a little hinge, so you just have to pop it off the top. Okay, now you're gonna take your bleed screw wrench and your plastic tube there. Okay, and first place the wrench over the top of the bleed screw. I believe it's the smaller end. Okay, and just kind of let that, we'll kind of put it, like this. All right, and now put the tube over the top of that. And let's just route the end of that tube right into that oil catch pan there.
Does it need to like snap on or anything?
It just kind of sits over the top.
Okay, like that.
All right, so right now the bleed screw is closed. You'll have to hold the tube on a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The bleed screw is closed, so to open it, It's just a screw, so we're gonna lefty-loosey. And now we've basically opened the system. So we have a straight route from here to the brake pedal to the caliper. So now to force the air out, we're gonna act like we're applying the brake. So go ahead and push down on that brake lever and look what comes out of your tube.
Fluid.
Yes, some brake fluid. That's a good sign. So go ahead and keep pumping. It's gonna take a few pumps because this all air through here. So what we should start to see is some bubbles coming out of the tube. And this is kind of a two-person job if you don't have the vacuum pump. So I'm gonna close it and let you build up some pressure. I'm gonna release it and we should see a little spurt of air or oil. Do you see the air bubbles coming out?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think we're actually gonna try the vacuum tool because it seems like we have an air pocket stuck. So now we're gonna use vacuum to basically suck the air out of the line. We'll see if this works any better than just pumping. All right, so go ahead and squeeze that vacuum pump a few times and look at the gauge. Are you building pressure or negative pressure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold this. So now we're gonna open the line back up
Should I keep squeezing?
and keep squeezing. Keep an eye on that pressure gauge to make sure we're still building pressure. And with your third hand, go ahead and press on that brake pedal and see if we can help this come through a little better. You're doing good. All right, looks like our fluid's getting a little low. Stop for a second. Add some more fluid to the reservoir. It's a lot easier with two people. So go ahead and squeeze the pedal. Now that we've been bleeding, do you feel some resistance?
Yep, it will not move.
All right, so apply pressure, and I'm gonna open it. And this time we shouldn't see any air bubbles come out.
Should
One
keep
more
pumping.
time. Good, one more time.
It's not moving. Okay.
Perfect. So, in conclusion, let's see if our braking system is working properly. So I'm gonna spin this wheel here, and I want you to apply pressure to the brake pedal as if you're trying to stop. Oh, and I can't move it. So, what have you just successfully done?
I have bled a brake line.
Okay, and what does that mean?
That means that now the brakes work successfully.
So what have you removed from the braking system?
Air.
Air. Very good.